This is going to be an extremely busy month. I have to watch 104 soccer games, follow the pregame, the postgame, yell useless opinions at the TV. It's a lot. So I knew that when it comes to screening for colon cancer, the choice was clear. The Cologuard Plus test. It can be used at home and can only take 15 minutes, so I can do it during halftime and not miss any action. If you are 45 or older and at average risk, ask your healthcare provider about screening for colon cancer with the Cologuard test. You can also request a prescription at Cologuard.com.
This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
Hello and welcome to History for Weirdos.
We're your hosts, Andrew
and Stephanie.
And each week, we're going to take you on a journey into the strange, obscure, and relentlessly entertaining corners of human history.
Now listen up, friends, because it's about to get weird.
Weirdos, welcome back to another episode of History for Weirdos. This is a really exciting episode because there are two main things I want to talk about just straight out of the bat, straight out of the gate, out of the bat. Who am I? Number one, more importantly, we have huge news. First of all, if you don't follow us on Instagram, then you're really missing out because if you do, you already know this. But if you haven't been following us, drum roll, please. Stephanie is pregnant.
Yay!
Yes. Stephanie's going to be a mom. I'm going to be a dad.
Yes.
We'll have a little weirdo baby.
Yeah, we're expecting a little weirdo baby.
I'm so excited, honestly.
And we shared a few weeks ago now, maybe almost 2 months ago.
2 months ago?
Yeah, almost 2 months ago, no? Or like a month ago.
Maybe a month ago, yeah.
Yeah, we shared on Instagram, and we wanted to say thank you so much for everyone on there who just was so excited for us.
Yeah, you guys really made us feel very special, and we really thank you for that.
Yeah, it's so nice to know, like, we're obviously very excited.
Yeah.
But it's so nice to know that so many other people are, like, rooting for you when you're entering a new chapter. Especially a very, like, intimidating chapter.
Yes, very intimidating. It is our first child. We have a dog. It's the closest thing, and it's not close at all to having a child. So we are a little bit nervous, but also very excited.
Yes.
It's funny. We were talking about how it's not even really necessarily like the next chapter. It's like a whole new book.
Yeah.
It's a new era.
Like, life is going to be different from now on.
Yeah, I feel like our lives up until this point have been like one book, and this is the start of the second book.
Yeah. So we're starting a new book, and we're so excited to share that with you all. Today, I'm 20 weeks pregnant as we record this.
Yeah, so halfway.
Halfway there. Woo-hoo. We just found out before we started recording this that it's a girl.
It's a girl, yes.
That's what the DNA test said, and then we have the 20-week scan on Monday, and they'll confirm the sex of the baby and hopefully confirm that everything continues to be good and healthy. But we found out that she is now the size of a sweet potato.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
So that's obviously huge news.
Huge.
We're going to be parents. It still like boggles my mind, and we found out months ago.
Yes. We found out before your birthday.
Yeah, right before my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
The first people I think we announced it to in person was at my birthday party, funny enough.
No, it was my parents.
Oh, your parents. Sorry. Okay, the first friends we announced it to.
I'm going to tell them that you forgot.
Yeah, oops. Sorry. Also, so the second thing is this, as you all know, we are, wrapping up the podcast, and this is Stephanie's last normal episode.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a topic that I think we've been flirting with for quite a long time. And I'm actually really excited to hear about this.
Yeah, this is the penultimate episode
The penultimate.
of History for Weirdos. My last episode, because your last episode was the Julius Caesar episode.
Exactly.
And that's the one that the fans had been demanding from you.
Demanding. And I get it. He's one of my favorite, if not my favorite, historical figure of all time. So
Yeah.
it seemed to be that episode was well received. So I really appreciate it, you guys, especially it being, quite a long episode. So for all of you who stuck around for the entire thing, you're real ones.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to say there's the obvious reason there was a big gap between that episode and this episode was the pregnancy.
Yeah.
I was so unwell
For a long time.
Which is not uncommon for the first trimester, but I kind of naively thought like as soon as it's the second trimester, I'll feel better.
Right.
And it's not the case. It's really only been in maybe like the last couple weeks that I've felt better.
Yeah.
So it's been like almost 4 months of just feeling like garbage.
Yeah.
So I wrote my episode for today a long time ago.
Like months ago.
And we had planned to record it pretty immediately, but then we found out we were pregnant and I hadn't felt any symptoms, but then maybe a couple days later I started to feel sick.
Yeah, we had to cancel. We had a
The
session
recording
booked
scheduled.
here. Yeah.
And thank you to Spotify for letting us record
Yeah.
our second to last and last episode here.
Yeah.
Because this has been such a special place for us. We've had some big milestone episodes here, so it's really nice that we get to say goodbye from Spotify Studios as well.
Exactly. And the people that we've met here along the way.
Yeah.
Adele, Johnny, and Travis from Spotify have been absolutely incredible. And like I consider them like friends now.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
And also shout out to our friend who happens to also work at Spotify, Carol.
Yes. Completely independent of this too, which is
Yeah.
even funnier.
An almost neighbor.
Almost neighbor too.
She lives like 5 minutes away.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of really good Spotify people in our corner, and we appreciate that.
Exactly.
And
now, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Stephanie.
this week we are going to explore a history of witches.
Oh, yes.
However, I will say, like a little quick disclaimer, this is a very narrow history of witches where it's predominantly like European, predominantly Western European. And then even more so, it's gonna focus a lot on like England, Scotland, those areas as we get kind of into the episode, because as we can all imagine, the concept of witches varies from culture to culture.
Right.
But this is sort of this was the through line that I found, where it's the like quintessential storybook witch that we think of today tends to come from these Western European traditions.
Right, that makes sense.
So that's what we're focusing on, a history of witches.
Oh, guys, I've been so excited. She hasn't told me anything about this episode, so I'm really, really stoked on it.
Probably haven't told you anything because I wrote it so long ago.
And you've been nauseous.
Yeah, and I've just been like nauseous or sleeping or eating. But to get started, Andrew.
Yes.
When I say picture a witch, can you tell me the image that comes to mind?
Okay. The image that comes to mind is like the Wicked Witch of the East, whatever, from Wizard of Oz.
What does she look like?
She's like, okay, pointy black hat, like green skin, like ugly, like crooked nose, like probably like a big mole or something on her cheek or jaw or whatever. She has like black cape on. She rides a broomstick.
Yes.
And she has like a big cauldron and she like eats children or something.
Yes, that is exactly what I wrote down.
Wow.
I said pointed hat, black robes, hooked nose, broomstick, bubbling cauldron.
Yeah.
That is what most of us will think of today when we think of a witch. And that image isn't random. It was constructed over time, piece by piece across centuries. And we're going to break down like where those images come from in this episode.
Wow, okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
there's a reason that that's what we think of. But first, I'm going to introduce you to a specific woman.
Okay.
We're going to talk about a woman named Anna Göldi.
Anna Göldi.
That's how I think you pronounce her name, her surname. It is the G-O with the 2 dots on top.
Oh, okay.
LDI. So I think it's Göldi. She was a maidservant, and she worked for a wealthy physician in Switzerland. His name was Johann. You know what I just thought of?
What?
Because it's Johann Jacob. I was like, John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt.
That's such ADHD coded. That's hilarious.
His name was Johann Jacob Schutte, and they lived in Glarus, Switzerland. For all intents and purposes, like what we know of this woman's work history, she's competent, she's trusted, and she has a resume of working in these more upper level households of like sort of well-respected professionals.
Do you know what time period this is?
Yeah, we will get to that though.
Oh, sorry.
Don't interrupt me. She's working for this wealthy physician. She's got a good job. She's stable, but she has a past. And unfortunately, it's a sad past. She had, prior to working for this man and his family, she had an illegitimate child that died.
Oh.
And that followed her as sort of like a social stain on her reputation. I don't know why it should, but this is in the 1780s.
Okay.
So in 1780 is when she started working for the Schutte family, and they had no complaints about her. Again, there's no like negative history in her work history. And then one day, and they know this when they hire her, they do know that she had an illegitimate kid that passed away. They're cool with it. Just be good at your job, whatever.
Right.
But then one day, one of the children, a young girl named Anna Maria, began having mysterious symptoms.
Oh.
This included convulsions, vomiting, and coughing. The coughing got so severe that the family reported she was coughing up needles.
This episode is brought to you by Fox One. Watch all 104 matches of the FIFA World Cup live in 4K for just $19.99 a month with 3 days free. Build your own multi-view, choose up to 3 streams, and follow player spotlights. Stay on top of every moment with live stats, highlights, and instant replays. The FIFA World Cup, streaming live on Fox One. Offers are subject to change. See fox.com for complete terms and conditions.
Need a laptop that's built to perform and designed to last all day? Select Windows 11 PCs starting at $499.99 are now at Best Buy. Learn more at bestbuy.com. Best Buy. Imagine that.
I wrote a little song to remind you, Choice Hotels get you more of the experiences you value. The Cambria Hotel's got it all. A rooftop bar, have a ball. Cocktails up here feel just right. Is Cambria amazing? All right. Bring a date, your team, or even your mom. Book direct at choicehotels.com. See you on the roof.
Weird, okay.
Like actual needles were coming out of her. And I think this is so weird that this is happening in a family where the head of the household, the father, is a physician, that he's confused by these symptoms. But again, it's 1780, so I know medicine isn't that advanced. But still, instead of thinking there's something wrong medically with our child, the family comes to the conclusion that Anna Göldi had bewitched her.
That's a logical conclusion.
Yeah, because
Right.
she had an illegitimate child. She must be a witch.
I see no flaw in that logic.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad. We're actually going to come back to her story throughout the episode.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So we're taking a pause.
Ooh.
She is going to be sort of like an example of the thinking and the injustices that come behind building the image that we have today of a witch.
I like this. Well, I don't like it, but I do like it. I find it fascinating.
So we are now going to step away from Anna's story. Like I said, we'll come back to it. But before we had the term witch, what do you think we had?
I would say like priestess, maybe?
That's one. Yeah.
One. Okay, like a shamaness.
Yeah.
Is there another one that I'm missing?
Just healers.
Healers. Okay.
Yeah. Healers, herbalists, midwives, priestesses, even sort of seers or prophets, prophetesses, I suppose. That is sort of the group that would eventually that exists in the ancient world.
Right.
That eventually becomes a witch. So we see in the ancient world, and I'm specifically looking at the ancient Mediterranean world, which you may be familiar with, babe.
I know a little bit about that.
Magic isn't seen as evil.
Correct.
As we see later on in a post-Christianity European society, right? Where it's seen as like, oh, if you are practicing magic, you must have some allegiance with the devil.
Sorry.
That's not a conclusion that they jump to in the ancient world. It's like a they see it as real, first
Absolutely.
of all, and they see it as like a practical thing, where like some women are going to be really good at curing you with herbs. Some are going to be good at like making charms so that you don't get cursed, whatever. Ritual is such a big part of the ancient world that it's seen as an extension of ritual. And in many ways, rituals are protective in nature. We perform rituals to protect ourselves from evil. And this is seen almost as like an everyday thing to have some sort of connection with the spiritual world. It's as common to the ancient people as it is like religion.
Right.
They go hand in hand. Mm-hmm. We actually see this in figures like Circe and Medea from myth, where these are like extreme powerful examples. So they're like fascinating, powerful, but they can also be dangerous and threatening.
Exactly.
And this is where we do see a little, like in these myths specifically of Circe and Medea, we do see there's a tension building of like what happens when a woman is too powerful.
Correct, yeah.
Do bad things start to happen. And it's just, to me, a very patriarchal perspective of things, of like, ooh, we don't understand women and their ways. So it must be like we're impressed by it, but it's also kind of scary.
Yeah, I definitely see that. Yeah, like it's interesting you phrase it like that, because I think in like, especially like the Roman and Greek world, that was definitely the case. I think there would be, especially like the cults of,
which are both very patriarchal societies.
Right, exactly. Mm-hmm. And they would see, especially Greece, Rome still, but not as much. And like they would see these women form like, like cults, like sometimes all women cults, and it was revered and respected, but also slightly feared, but not so much like persecuted.
Yes,
that was like that was a layer that wasn't, because again, they were like ultimately serving the gods or serving some sort of higher power that they saw and they venerated in society. So they were protected.
Yeah, I think that's the big distinction that you just made, is for ancient times, sure, it could be threatening or intimidating or scary a little bit, but it is always going to be also revered and protected versus persecuted.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we don't get to the persecution until the High Middle Ages, really. And that's where our more modern concepts of a witch start to get planted.
Interesting. Okay.
So High Middle Ages, which is around 1000 to 1300 AD, the concept of heresy begins to be policed very seriously. But it's basically like going against the church.
Yeah, I think more or less like kind of like the established doctrine of like, if you're looking at like Western Europe, like the Catholic Church, or Eastern Europe, more like the Orthodox Church.
So the legal and religious machinery at this point is being built where like the church in general has this sort of like police power.
Yeah.
That's what we're starting to see. It's not yet pointed at witches, but it's starting to get there, of like, what are the pre-Christian beliefs and traditions that so many people still would have held that we don't want around anymore?
Yeah. And it's funny because like in present day, I love the Catholic Church because I see the ancient world like still presented like in the modern day, which is I find like so ironic for this time period.
Yeah, this time period, they're really trying to weed it out.
Yeah.
Intentionally. When we get into the late 1300s, early 1500s, that's more where we see this concept of a diabolical witch get invented. Witches are starting to be seen as women that are, well, they don't explicitly say women, but people who are in league with the devil. And that is the agreed upon enemy of the Christian faith.
Interesting. Okay.
Humans who are making pacts with the devil. You are the enemy.
Yeah.
There's actually, in the late 1480s, a witch hunting manual that gets created.
Yes, I know about this.
The Malleus Maleficarum. I don't know if that's how you say it. It's a systemized argument that witches are real, 1. 2, they are dangerous. And it lays out strategies for persecuting them. It is also, if you look at it, pretty openly misogynistic. It's built on the idea that women are spiritually and morally weaker than men, so they are more at risk of being seduced by the devil and entering into pacts with him.
That's really interesting. I wonder how they came up with that. Because like I see a lot of the evil around the world. I'm like, it's men.
Yeah.
Like I hate to say it. Yeah, there's a lot more violent. Every like the genocide, the sexual crimes, they're vastly like overrepresented by men.
Just even like local violence, right? Murders.
Yeah, that's true.
Unfortunately, like harm to children, like that's not predominantly created by women.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting conclusion that they get to, that obviously women are morally and spiritually weaker.
Right, because it's like the evidence suggests otherwise, right? And it's like, I'm a guy saying this, so and it's pretty obvious.
It is pretty obvious. But the Malleus Maleficarum actually argues at length. It has like a whole section on like why women are more susceptible to the devil than men. One of the reasons that women are more susceptible to being seduced by the devil is because they talk too much.
Okay, well, he has a point there.
They're always yapping. Okay?
They're yappers.
And that, to me, that's the devil. Isn't that hilarious?
That's really funny. 'Cause I kind of yap a lot too, so it's like, oh
so
man.
you'd be seduced by the devil.
Apparently so.
All podcasters.
I know.
Want to elevate your travel experience? Here's how. With a Delta SkyMiles Reserve American Express card, you can relax before your flight in the Delta Sky Club with up to 15 visits per medallion year. And now through July 15th, 2026, you can earn up to 125,000 bonus miles, so you're closer to your next adventure. The Delta SkyMiles Reserve card. Check out the new design at www.delta.com/Spotify. Minimum spending requirements and terms apply.
Adobe Firefly is the all-in-one creative studio with AI-powered image and video editing for today's creative process. Built for creators of every kind, Firefly helps you generate, edit, and experiment fast. Because the asks aren't getting smaller, the budgets aren't getting bigger, and the timelines, still tight. With all the best creative AI models in one place, Firefly brings your ideas to life. Unlock a better way to make with Adobe Firefly.
Suffering from dry, tired, irritated eyes? Don't let dry eyes win. Use Sustain Pro. It hydrates, restores, and protects dry eyes for up to 12 hours. Sustain Pro. Triple action dry eye relief.
It becomes one of the most printed books in Europe.
Yeah.
And that's saying a lot, because not a lot of books were widely printed and distributed. So for one of them to be, here's a manual on witches and how to persecute them, it's not a great sign, right?
No, it's not.
So now we're going to jump forward a little bit to witch hunts, which I know the weirdos love.
Yes.
We've talked about some witch hunts before in the past.
You guys love the witch hunts. I don't know what that says about you, but
You sickos.
But yeah, no, in all fairness, they are actually quite interesting.
Very interesting.
Now that we're like very far removed from them.
Mm-hmm. So between 1560 and 1630, there's a series, I'm not going to get into it because I don't care. There's a series of religious wars and a lot of political instability throughout Europe. So what does that mean? If there's like religious wars and political instability in a continent, how do you think the people are feeling?
I think they're feeling like not good.
Yes,
I'd
agree. They're feeling scared.
Yeah, they're scared.
Instability, like mass instability in people, tends to create a sense of fear.
Right.
There's actually a really nice spiritual quote that I like, and I don't remember who it's attributed to, but that all emotions boil down to either fear or love.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, humans are really prone to fear. And that's what's going on here. So because there's instability, people are looking for someone to blame.
Yeah, that always happens. Because also, it's interesting, I think, you could probably talk more about this, but how fear makes you stupider. Like, it will actually, like, lower your cognitive ability because it's, like, one of those, like, flight or fight kind of response comes up. And that, like, that's, like, where your body is projecting its energy towards. It's not towards your brain to think critically about an assessment of a situation.
Mm-hmm.
It is to, like, do I fight or do I flee?
Mm-hmm. There's fight, flight, freeze, and fawn that we know of. Those are really common responses to a threat. And it is because if you think about it from like an evolutionary perspective, if you are being faced with a threat, whether that's like another human or an animal or even like a natural disaster, you don't have a lot of time. So what your brain does is it effectively, it doesn't actually shut down, but you're no longer accessing the prefrontal cortex, your logic and reasoning. It goes out the window, and you are solely relying on what we call the lizard brain, which is like it's closer to the brain stem, and it is going to be your more basic functions. That's what's taking over. So you're not thinking real good.
You're not doing the big thinking.
You're not doing the big thinking. You're reacting. You're in a reactive state. And yeah, that's what we do when we're scared is we react to things. And because of this reactivity and this political instability, religious instability, there's approximately 100,000 prosecutions and 40,000 to 60,000 executions across Europe.
Oh my God.
Between 1560 and 1630.
And this is specifically witches?
Of witches.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's so interesting is like we did an episode on the Salem witch trials, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we went to Salem even a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that is such like a huge image, I think, in like the during like the colonial era of American history, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like in the grand scheme of things, we were like a tiny little blip comparative to Europe. And you don't really think about Europe when you think of, at least from the American perspective, right? When you think of like persecution of witches.
Yeah, you'd think of like the colonial...
like the Puritans and whatnot. And
yes.
They did do horrible things, don't get me wrong, but it's like not comparatively to Europe. And that's something I didn't know until recently, until I think your episode before the Salem witch trials, I forgot. We've had so many episodes, but there was one that you did on, I think in England.
Yeah, the Pendle witch trials.
There we go. That's the one. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it doesn't, like, unfortunately, we are so desensitized to violence. That doesn't sound like a lot. But if you've ever been to Bloomington, Indiana, that, like, the population of Bloomington, Indiana.
It's like 100,000. Is
the amount of people that were executed, not even persecuted.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, like a whole city just gone.
That's insane.
For witchcraft. Okay, so like
that's crazy.
To be honest, like not for actually doing anything bad. Just because like I'm scared, I think you're a witch. You're dead. There were kind of hot spots where this was happening, which makes sense that it would kind of like catch fire in certain regions. These hot spots were Western and Central Europe. So another region that we don't think of a lot with witch hunts, but actually was very, very prominent with witch hunts was German territories.
Yeah.
They were very scared of witches. And unsurprisingly, as I've alluded to already throughout the episode, mostly women are the targets of these. Specifically, the most vulnerable women. If you look at the records of who is prosecuted and then who is ultimately executed, it's going to be disproportionately older women who are widowed. So they don't have a husband to protect them. Poor women, so women who are working as like a laundry maid or whatever, and anyone who falls within a socially marginalized group, like an unmarried mother. So they're prosecuting the most unprotected people in their communities.
Wow.
And it shows really how much having a husband would have protected you from being prosecuted. Which is so sad.
I got you, babe.
Thanks. And then we also see a very sad but interesting trend that the roles of women who are prosecuted during witch hunts are typically women who are healers in the community. So like an apothecary or just like a medicine woman, or again, we see a lot of midwives. A lot of the women who are birthing the babies of the community are ultimately going to be prosecuted.
I can't.
I know. It's so sad.
It's so ridiculous. Like,
you are a helper in this community and something goes wrong. So typically what would, like a very common trope would be like, there's a midwife who is been working in the community like her whole life. And then babies start to get sick because you guys aren't washing your freaking hands. Okay. They don't have germ theory.
right.
So, and babies have lower immune systems. They're still building their immune systems, but there'll be a period where like babies get sick and die and people want to blame someone. So they blame the midwife.
They blame the most vulnerable people without ever like critically thinking about, is there something else that could be doing this, because their fears heighten and their cognitive ability is lowered.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy. It literally is crazy. It's so sad.
I guess it is.
So we're going to go into what I had you describe at the beginning, which is how the witch look was built.
Yeah.
So I'm going to break it down into like the different elements of the witch look. We have the broomstick.
Of course.
Why do you think a broomstick is a part of the witch look?
Oh, lower socioeconomic standards, right? They're servants. They're sweeping the floor.
Yeah. Who sweeps?
Like maids.
Women.
Women. Yeah.
Yeah. It's either like it's a household tool that men are never associated with using. And it is going to be a more lower class woman who is sweeping a floor, whether it's her own floor or somebody else's.
I love like when we break things down like in this like socioeconomic or like any sort of other standard, because it makes so much more sense now.
Yes. Yes. It really does, right? Like,
Yeah,
oh, that's why it's a broom and not like a hammer
exactly.
or a chisel or something. It's what women would use, and not wealthy women. Wealthy women aren't sweeping anything. It's a vulnerable woman that's using this. We have early images of broom riding women show up in the late 1400s.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was that early.
That early. It's
Wow.
It's usually in the form of a silhouette of a woman riding a broomstick when they're like, putting up propaganda, essentially warning people about witches.
Yeah.
And
Probably
that-
in front of a full moon or something.
Yeah, and that image just never stopped being copied and distributed.
Wow. Even like 500 years later with like Wizard of Oz.
Yes. Isn't that fascinating?
That is.
Similar to the broomstick, the other item that we strongly associate with witches, you mentioned as well, is the cauldron. Because what is it for?
Making like medicine
And
and
food.
food. Yeah.
Who cooks?
Women.
Isn't this crazy?
Oh my God.
It goes all the way to the top. It is used for food. It's used for herbal remedies, as you mentioned. It is a symbol of like women's domestic role,
Yeah.
the women's domestic knowledge, even like how do you make yummy recipes? How do you make medicine? It's the cauldron. And the cauldron then gets reframed instead of like, oh, she's making medicine with this. She's making remedies for the town, as this is where she's making like poison. This is where she's making spells.
Yeah. Because like that's a logical leap.
Yeah. This is where she's like cutting up like rabbit's feet and eye of newt and things like that.
Eye of newt. Yeah.
We see this. This really becomes the cauldron. Really becomes an icon of witchcraft through Shakespeare's Macbeth, which came out in 1606.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense.
The cavern scene. The very famous chant, which I've quoted here, is double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. That's something that like kids know today.
Yeah, that's over 400 years old, guys. That's actually, okay, handed to Shakespeare. He knew how to write.
Yes. And that, for folks who maybe don't remember or aren't familiar with it, that chant is said by 3 witches. Mm-hmm. And they are seen as these sort of ominous figures throughout Macbeth. Like they're women that know too much. Yeah. Right? They can predict all the bad things that are going to happen to Macbeth and his family. And they're seen as sort of these like... It's also kind of like a throwback to the Fates.
Right.
This idea that women have this knowledge that we just don't know. It must come from the cauldron and the devil and things like that.
Right.
It's called intuition, guys.
Yeah. It's like, and ironically, not to get too like metaphysical, but I'm like, it probably comes from God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, or like, if you want to dumb it down, it's just vibes.
It's just vibes, yeah. You're just picking up vibes.
They're picking up vibes. Like that Macbeth guy... I feel like his wife is tougher than he is, and she's running the show.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I'm getting. It's not witchcraft.
That's so wild.
Yeah, isn't it interesting?
Imagine telling people at this time that, like, oh, yeah, in the future, there's going to be, like, artificial intelligence and yada, yada, yada. And, like,
they would
a lot of things just, like, go off of vibes. Like vibe coding or, like, vibe session.
I think they would say you're a witch.
Warlock.
A warlock. Another symbol that is really, really commonly associated with witches that we haven't touched on yet is the black cat.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Sabrina's black cat.
Yes, Salem.
Salem, yeah.
Mm-hmm. As Christianity spread, animals that were linked to older pagan traditions specifically, again, so it's like, this is pre-Christian, so we don't like it, got reframed as suspicious or demonic. Cats, in particular, were seen as suspicious because they're nocturnal. They're very independent creatures, and they are also something that you find around the home a lot. Like they're in a domestic setting. People had them because they would eat rats.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is actually really helpful.
It's really helpful. But who's going to have a cat?
Right.
It's the woman who's like, oh, I don't want my family to get sick, or I live alone and I want a cat. Again,
cat ladies?
Cat ladies. Older women, widowed women, women living alone who had cats were seen to be witches.
Oh my God.
This is so extreme. The association of cats with demonic entities or demonic doings, that there is an English witch trial record that actually names specific cats as evidence. One of these cats was called Sathan, right? So it sounds like Satan. Keeping a cat could be entered into the court record as, quote, evidence of a demonic pact.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So if you own a cat, that's evidence that you have entered into a pact with demons. This is also where we get that superstition that a black cat crosses your path equals bad luck. It comes from the idea that witches could actually shape shift into cats.
Wow, okay.
So that they could do harm around you. That's why we're afraid of black cats.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Teens share everything. That may include the bacteria that can cause meningococcal disease known as meningitis. Even if your teen's been vaccinated in the past, they could still be missing meningitis vaccinations. Ask your teen's doctor or visit meningitis.com today. Sponsored by GSK.
Picture this. Me, Reese Witherspoon, in London, ordering fish and chips so often they might start wrapping me in paper. I'm traveling with my Wells Fargo autographed journey card, so I earn rewards wherever I book travel. 5 times points with hotels, 4 times with airlines, 3 times on restaurants and other travel, and 1 point on other purchases. Imagine getting rewarded for eating a toad in the hole. Wait, what is a toad in a hole?
Visit wellsfargo.com/autograph journey. Terms apply.
The World Cup is back and Football Weekly is going daily. From the goals and the glory to the politics and the problems, join me, Max Rushton, and our expert panel every day of the tournament. World Cup Daily, listen on Spotify now and watch the full episodes on YouTube.
And then one of the other big symbols that you mentioned at the beginning is, and this is the last one I'll go over, is that pointed hat.
Yes.
We always picture witches with a pointed hat. This is likely a composite image that we have of actually fashion trends. There was one hat in particular that looked like a cone, and it was called a capotain or a steeple hat, and it was worn in England and northwestern Europe. It is the same hat that we associate with Puritan imagery now, and it becomes witch gear most likely through illustrations. Oh. Remember that a lot of people can't read. Literacy rates are low. So when they're showing these images of women riding broomsticks or women with their cats or whatever, it was just almost like a coincidence. Like, these hats are trendy right now, so she's wearing one of these hats, these steeple hats.
Yeah.
And it just became so iconic to our psyches that they're long out of fashion, and we still associate these steeple hats with witches.
That's really interesting. I never really considered that part, but you're right. Like, when you do think of Puritans, you do think of those kind of like ugly hats, honestly.
Yes. I want to point out that the through line here is that every one of these objects is ordinary. There's nothing actually like extraordinary about a broom, a cauldron, a cat, or a hat, but they're just things that are associated with women's labor, turned into symbols of evil. And that is something that we still copy today in like American present day Halloween images.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I just want to point out, it seems like, even beyond witches, it seems like we always associate like tools of labor with like eventually becoming something like evil, right?
That's a really good point.
Yeah, like you think of like, especially in America, like the hammer and then a sickle, right? It's like, oh, that's communism. They're just tools.
Yeah.
Right. But of course, like it's always like the working class tools that become associated with things that are evil. Never like, the oligarchy class.
Right. When you think of, like I mentioned, during the time that like witch trials go up when there's some sort of political instability, why is it not symbols of like the ruling class?
Exactly.
That are the ones creating the political instability.
Right. Like,
it's the symbols of the everyday people that become demonized, literally.
That's, yeah. Wow.
Getting pretty deep on History for Weirdos, you guys. Eventually, we do know that these witch trials decline, and that's not because everyone stopped believing in witches. It's because, thankfully, the church became less of a powerful influence in the court system, and courts had to create more centralized standards for their proceedings in general.
Right.
Like, oh, we need to have like standard operating procedures here. We can't just say because this lady has a cat, that's evidence that she's a witch. And when the courts are starting to create these standard operating procedures, there is a growing discomfort with the fact that most confessions of witchcraft, if not nearly all confessions of witchcraft, are extracted through torture.
Right. And we know that torturing someone always yields like correct results.
Mm-hmm.
They're definitely never just saying things just to get you to stop torturing them.
Right. So they're like, maybe we should rethink this strategy. Maybe this isn't good. And the decline of witch hunts also aligns with the early Enlightenment thinking.
Just about to say that, yeah.
Yeah, the 1700s, where there is more skepticism. There is this idea of your claims need proof, which to us sounds very obvious, but to people of this time, particularly like the everyday person with the lower educational status, that's a huge, huge idea. Your claim needs proof. Think about it.
That's really funny.
Whereas before you could say, my baby got sick and I don't like my neighbor who's this like weird old cat lady, so I'm going to tell everyone that she's a witch.
Yeah.
And then people just believe you. You don't need proof.
I wonder if that's like part of like a deeper like phenomenon within the human history of just kind of like going in cycles of, oh, you need proof to like to accuse someone, and then to like things get so bad that things kind of revert back to like, no, you don't need proof, right?
Ooh.
Like I always think of like a perfect example of that was like in the 1st century BC with all the Roman purges, I forgot what they're called, proscriptions.
Prescriptions. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you could just like, oh no, this guy is an enemy of the state. Okay, kill him.
Yes. I guess when going back to our point earlier, like it depends on how high the fear is.
Yes, exactly.
But when fear, like early Enlightenment, things are going like more smoothly. So fear is low and people are like, wait a sec, we should put some thinking behind this.
Yeah. Like maybe we should like employ our cognitive ability.
Mm-hmm. Maybe. So through the 18th and 19th centuries, we start to see laws that were criminalizing witchcraft start to very slowly get repealed. But just because the laws are repealed doesn't mean that those beliefs and fears didn't linger amongst communities. We see people being accused of witchcraft we have records into the 20th century.
Wow. It's wild to think that like while Abraham Lincoln was like president, there's probably like witchcraft trials going on.
Yes. Someone being accused of a witch. And remember, they start to repeal them in the 18th century, and it takes all the way through the 20th century for us to see the last ones. So change is slow, especially when it comes to these fear-based beliefs. Do you remember Anna Göldi, who we started with?
Wow, look at that. I do remember.
What happened to Anna, you think, after she was accused?
I'm guessing that something bad happened.
That's a good guess, babe. Yeah. That's a good guess. So Anna fled when she realized that the family was accusing her of making their daughter sick. She flees, but she is captured, unfortunately, and then she is subsequently tortured.
Oh my God.
Her torture includes being hoisted by her bound hands behind her back. This is a really common method designed to extract confessions.
Oh, that would be really painful.
Really painful, especially for days at a time. So she eventually does confess to making a pact with the devil and poisoning the child with a, quote, magic powder. She is then executed by beheading on June 13th, 1782, making her widely regarded as one of the last executions for witchcraft in that area.
Oh, wow.
We're in Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause 1782, that's pretty late.
Yeah, it's really late in the game.
That's really late in the game. This is the same decade, actually, as the American Revolution.
Yeah, like, I think this is we sign, I think, the Treaty of Paris, like, in this decade.
Yes. The Enlightenment is well underway at that point.
It's like kind of like towards the end.
Mm-hmm. And this woman was beheaded for witchcraft.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. It's a really sad case, but it's also illustrates that decline that we're talking about isn't a linear decline.
Yeah, that's a really good way of framing it.
Mm-hmm. Like, yes, it's going down, but it doesn't mean that you cannot be beheaded for witchcraft.
Right.
The Enlightenment didn't like flip a switch for people.
Yeah. You know what's really interesting too is like the founding fathers of the United States, one of the things they didn't agree on a lot, right? They had a wide array of beliefs, but one of the things they almost universally all agreed on was that they really didn't want like the religious whack jobs of like the 17th century in charge. So like the Puritans. So they all kind of agreed that sort of persecution against witches, which isn't really talked about that often, but like was bad.
Yeah. That's not talked about like at all.
Yeah.
It's also likely that the Swiss authorities at the time knew this is kind of a messy charge, because that is the initial charge that she's given as witchcraft. But when they list in the official record the reason for her beheading, they list it as poisoning.
Wow. Oh, so they knew.
They
definitely
knew. They can't say, oh, we beheaded her because she's a witch. They knew it was wrong, what they were doing.
I mean, and also the fact that the little girl's father was a doctor.
Yes, that's the thing. Someone that you
Yeah.
think wouldn't be as susceptible to this sort of fear. There's
Yeah.
so many different medical conditions that could cause the vomiting and the convulsions. I truly don't know if it was real that this little girl was coughing up needles. But maybe the little kid swallowed a needle or something.
Yeah.
Like little kids do weird things.
Like, little kids are dumb.
Little kids are dumb. They don't know. So the fact that they didn't investigate it from like a medical perspective is really scary, really, really alarming.
Yeah. I mean, it is interesting. Like, obviously, huge fan of doctors, don't get me wrong. But some of the worst atrocities in human history, like the most gruesome, vile things, were done by doctors. And it's important to know that.
Yeah, you don't give them inherent trust just because of that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So after the trials fade, witches don't disappear. They just kind of like transform. They become this sort of like folklore that we see largely in children's literature.
Yeah.
Which is how like most of us would have grown up exposed to witches. They are this like cultural artifact of like back in the day, there used to be these witches.
Yeah.
They're sometimes seen as like a monster used to like scare kids into behaving well. But they're sometimes seen as almost like a quaint, kind of like funny character in a story, right? And then the 20th century kind of flips the script again, where we have modern witches. There is a movement that most of us are familiar with is the Wicca movement.
Oh, yeah.
Which was a big effort to reclaim the term witch as a self-chosen spiritual identity. And it explicitly rejects the idea of the devil and forming a pact with the devil. It's a spiritual reclamation for sure. It's about like being in tune with nature and using nature as medicine and stuff like that. But it's also a very feminist one.
It's ironic. It seems like a very kind of like a new take on the very ancient way of looking at it.
Yeah, that's a good way of framing it. It is like modern people trying to remember how did we used to do things. Today, witch is a word that has multiple meanings to us, right? We see it as like a historical thing. We see it as a Halloween costume. We know some people spiritually identify as witches. We could see it even as like a feminist sort of thing to be called a witch. It's interesting how it has taken on such a loaded meaning. And it really depends on like who you ask. What do you think a witch is today?
Yeah. But I bet very few people are probably going to think of how they thought about it in the 16th and 17th centuries.
Yes, thankfully.
Yeah.
And I want us to touch back on Anna Göldi's story one more time.
Nice. Okay, let's do it.
In 2007.
Wow, I was alive. You were alive. Most of you listening were alive.
225 years later, the Swiss canton of Glarus, where she lived, formally exonerated Anna Göldi and issued an official apology.
She's like, yeah, I've been dead 250 years, but cool. Thanks, I guess.
And then they opened a museum in her name. So she does get justice in a weird way, but it is over 200 years after she was beheaded, so I don't know how she felt about that. Her case is actually now referred to as a judicial murder by Swiss historians.
I respect the Swiss for doing that. They have a very critical look of like their history, and they're like, oh, we don't want to do that again. Let's do it differently. Whereas unfortunately, I think here in the U.S. we don't have that same thought process.
Unfortunately, I don't think we have a lot of accountability for our history.
Yeah, that too.
But taking accountability helps you heal.
Right, and also just helps create a better future, like, which is ultimately what everyone wants, right? You'd think, but...
Yeah, going back a little bit, back before 2007, we were talking about the Wicca movement. In the 1950s and 60s, there's a man named Gerald Gardner and a woman named Doreen Valiente who formalized this as a modern spiritual practice in Britain. It becomes a religion because of these people. I think it's interesting that a man is considered one of the formal co-founders.
Interesting, yeah.
And it's considered a nature-based spirituality. There is no talk of the devil for Wiccas. And then by the 1970s, second wave feminism also picks up on the symbol of the witch. There's a group called WITCH, which is Women's International Terrorist Conspiracy from Hell.
Oh my God.
That's their real name. And they would stage protests in pointed hats on Wall Street or at different political events.
Yeah. I mean, I think the people on Wall Street were more like what people in the 17th and 16th centuries thought of as witches. They're actually like those.
They're
in real
actually the
life.
witches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do make pacts with the devil.
Yes. I love how they reclaim that iconography, though.
Yeah.
I think that's really fun and powerful.
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
This episode is brought to you by Starbucks.
That is fire! Whoa, that's good. This might be the drink of the summer. Okay, I like this one too. I'm rocking with it, okay?
Try it for yourself. Starbucks Refreshers Concentrates are coming home. Find them in the coffee aisle and make it yours.
This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking. Maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
But the witch aesthetic continues. It's if you consider things like crystals, tarot, apothecary as what was once known as witch items, that is now a multi-million-dollar market that you can enter as a business.
Gotta find a way to make money off this.
Yeah. A 2019 Forbes report noted that the witch economy was generating over $2 billion annually in the U.S. alone. And this crosses wellness, spirituality, and other related retail sectors.
Wow. It always comes down to money at the end.
That's why it's accepted now. You can make money off of it.
Yeah.
So the full arc is this. An image is invented to persecute women and terrorize them into compliance. It's copied for centuries until it really just quickly becomes an image of evil. And now, in the present day, it's one of the most commercially and culturally potent symbols that we can recognize. Whether that's, you see it as like powerful or just like weird or goofy.
Yeah.
It is a big money maker. I think the original prosecutors of witches would be baffled to see what we consider a witch today.
I love like the concept of time and how it changes literally everything.
Yeah.
You know?
It really does.
Yeah.
And I think it's such a reminder, like the history of witches is to me such a reminder of like our lives are so short. So therefore our understanding of something is so small.
Yeah.
Like if you're in the ancient world, you think of a witch as like, yeah, that's my neighbor and I go to her to like protect myself from curses. That's a witch.
Duh.
If you're in the middle of the witch trials, you're thinking, oh, that's the reason all my livestock died, is this witch. And then if you are today, you're like, oh yeah, that's my friend who's really good at tarot.
Yeah. You're kind of a witch.
Yeah, totally. Which is why I was interested in this topic. And that, Weirdos, is a very abridged history of witches in the Western world.
Nice.
In Europe, at least.
Yeah. That was great. I love that. I learned a lot. I didn't know hardly any of that, actually.
Yeah, I had no idea like why we had that. I think what really fascinated me in the research for this episode was like, why do we all have the same image that pops into our head? That's why I asked you that at the beginning. So that was sort of like my research question.
Oh, wow.
Going into this.
That is interesting. Also, I thought of something. I think a lot of the witch persecution happened during the Protestant Reformation.
Yes.
Like those. I'm not saying it happened because of it. It just means that those two timelines kind of align.
No, King James the First, the son
of England.
Yeah.
The
son of Mary Queen of Scots, but he takes over as Elizabeth's heir.
Yes.
He was a huge fan of the book that I mentioned.
The Maleficarum.
Yes.
It's Latin. I should know it, but I don't.
He was very afraid of witches, which is interesting because it's in another episode where I mention a witch. It might be the Pendle witch trials. We actually see that his predecessor, Henry VIII, we have letters where he's like, hey, can you, on your like political embassy trip, could you actually stop by and see that like local witch and ask her like, when am I going to have a son or whatever?
Right. Yeah.
Like he goes to witches for counsel almost. So we have Henry VIII, then we have Elizabeth, and then by the time of James, he's actively persecuting witches.
Yeah. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
How things change, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What did stood out to you that you learned?
Okay, well, a lot.
Quiz time.
Oh gosh, putting me on the spot here. Well, I'd say that it's really interesting the kind of progression, I'd say, of like, it wasn't just like one person, right? It was like a composite. You said that word, composite, and that's exactly what it is. How like the pointy hat that came from the Puritans, and then like the broom was like because of the working class
domestic
women,
workers,
right?
yeah.
And like all these things kind of come together over the course of time, and there really wasn't one person. But I did like also the backdrop of Golda, was her name?
Anna Göldi.
Anna Göldi, because that is kind of like, I feel like the quintessential, like what happened.
Yeah, she's just a domestic worker taking care of the kids. Something goes wrong and they're like, she's the one we're going to blame. She had an illegitimate child.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a husband.
Like the most vulnerable person like in that household in like general society who they can just pick on. And I think that it's so disgusting.
Yeah,
honestly.
who's easy to pick on.
Exactly. Without any sort of proof, without like any sort of just like logic at all. Like thinking about, okay, what's like the most likely scenario, and then like starting there and then moving to what's, if that isn't the case, what's the second most likely scenario, right? But they're just like, no, this woman's a witch.
Like the least likely one.
And they knew better too, because this is like the late 18th century.
This is the late 18th century in the home of a doctor. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was like infuriating too, which is why I used her as a case example. Weirdos, let us know. What did you already know about witches? What did I not include about witches?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot.
I'm sure there's so much.
Like you said, though, this is an abridged version, like focus more on Western and Central Europe.
You could write, not even a book, you could write like a whole series of books actually covering the history of witches and witchcraft.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt about Julius Caesar. It was like I gave such an abridged version. I was like, you could do an entire podcast series on just his Gallic Wars, and I had to like kind of go.
Yeah.
So I feel that big time.
Weirdos, I hope you enjoyed this history of witches as much as I did. Again, let us know in the comments of this episode what you learned or what I left out, or you can always go and comment on our Instagram.
Exactly, and Stephanie, thank you so much for giving us the very last normal episode of History for Weirdos.
Woohoo!
We will be back very shortly with the series finale of History for Weirdos. Should we give them like a little bit of
what they can expect?
Exactly. So I don't know if you remember, but a long time ago now, we asked you all to give us your hometown history.
Your local lore.
Local lore, that's what we called it. And we compiled all of them, and we'll be we'll be telling you the stories in the series finale. So you guys are actually creating the episode, the very last episode.
You guys are making the last episode, and we're reading it. We're going to be reading the local lore. We'll be giving more personal updates and letting you know what we think about the future of History for Weirdos.
Exactly. There is probably more to come.
Yeah, just in a different way.
Exactly. So weirdos, until next time.
Adios. Yay!
This episode is brought to you by Google Health. Stop chasing someone else's definition of health. What matters is what's healthy for you. Google Health offers a new kind of coach built with Gemini for effortless tracking, sleep insights, and holistic coaching tailored to you. Visit googlestore.com to learn more and start a new relationship with your health. Requires Google account, Google Health app, internet, and Google Health premium subscription. Features subject to change. Availability and results vary. Not intended for medical purposes. Works independently of Gemini apps. Check responses for accuracy.